hello curious people. Now, although we live in times of blockbuster and epic film productions, you know perfectly well that not every movie conquers the box office or the hearts of the critics, and that the Hollywood dream just doesn't come true for everyone. Can somebody, however, be adored for being the worst of the worst? Well, it seems that yes, but we can assure you that Tommy Wiseau didn't dream of such fame. Because do you remember the 2003 movie titled The Room? And even if you haven't seen this production, probably many of you know the iconic quotes from the movie such as, "Oh, hi Mark," or "Why, Lisa, why?" Well, it turns out that the director's biggest secret has just been revealed and it's getting loud about him again. Stay with us to the end to learn the greatest secret of Tommy Wiseau and much other interesting information about him and his work. But before you do that, don't forget to give this video a like and to hit the little bell button, cause we have some fascinating news about the stars every day. Tommy Wiseau is a very mysterious character, but also the one who's hard to be missed. He was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, he walked the red carpets of the Golden Globes, people flock to his movie screenings, and many even dress up as him on Halloween or on other occasions. Meanwhile, despite this fascination, not many people know anything about this creator, and although Tommy wanted to be a top-of-the-range filmmaker, his fans loved him for his kitsch roles and the comedy of his productions. So what is all of this about? Let me explain it all to you. The popularity of Tommy Wiseau was really born after he made the movie The Room, and although bad movies are made around the world almost every day, fortunately, most of them don't get through the viewer's consciousness. And only in very rare cases, it happens that by some chance, few of them reach their loyal viewers and over time, they become a cult. And so it was with the production of The Room from 2003, which quickly became the world's worst production ever. It was said to be Citizen Kane among the bad movies because just as in Orson Welles' masterpiece, everything was good, so in the Wiseau's movie, everything was terrible. It was 2003, so it would seem that movies like The Room are not made in the 21st century, but still, interestingly enough, before the premiere of this picture, the leader of the worst was the production of the Plan 9 from Outer Space directed by Edward Wood, telling about aliens who use zombies, trying to get rid of living citizens of the Earth, in their opinion, to save the galaxy. So this director was also a visionary and wanted to win the hearts of the audience, but his film was made in 1959. By the way, however comical and naive the filmmaker was, you can find out from Tim Burton's Ed Wood movie, which shows the backstage of the creation of this famous horror movie starring Johnny Depp. But The Room quickly dethroned Plan 9 from Outer Space and since then has been holding the title of the worst production in the world of all time. The film cost $6 million and tells the story of an honest banker, Johnny, who financially supports his friends and looks after them morally. But the most important in his life is his fiancée Lisa, whom he treats like a real goddess. The only problem is that the girl seems to be more interested in Johnny's friend, Mark, and soon has an affair with him. Tommy Wiseau was the actor, screenwriter, director, and producer of the picture, a mysterious filmmaker with black-dyed hair and a fairly unidentified foreign accent that was said to be from the East. So the creator, who turned out to be as wealthy as his film character, gained relative publicity when he bought a billboard at Highland Avenue to promote his peculiar narcissistic project, although no one knew he had the money for this production or for advertising. And you know what was on the graphics? It depicted a close-up of Wiseau pretending to be tough, with narrowed eyes and a phone number attached. There was also a trailer with a slogan with a mistake, by the way, promising kinda Tennessee Williams drama. The film debuted in 2 cinemas in Southern California, but it was quickly removed from the screenings after only 2 weeks in the theaters and earned only $1,800. The Room did not prove to be a serious drama, but it actually found an audience in the following years. At night screenings, who due to its peculiar dialogues, wooden acting, and artificial scenes and fatal endings, considered the production as a good comedy and a joke, so bad that somehow it was charming. And meanwhile, Tommy Wiseau really started living his character, an enigmatic guy out of nowhere who wants to realize his American dream. However, Tommy's real life was a mystery. He claimed to have come from New Orleans, but grew up in France, though it was much more likely that he came from Eastern Europe. His date of birth also remains a matter of dispute, and in an interview from 2010, he said that he was 41 years old, which would indicate that he was born in 1968 or 1969. However, according to immigration documents, it could have been much earlier, like in the 1950s. Wiseau financed the film from his own funds, allegedly from the commercial activities and real estate transactions conducted in the San Francisco Bay Area. In addition, the billboard he bought was to grow interest in his film, and he kept it in the sight of a Los Angeles residence for 5 years and paid for it $5,000 per month. Paradoxically, he even succeeded because his B-class film over time has become a cultural phenomenon that arouses the interest of various social groups, from students through comedians to novice filmmakers. People often lined up in long queues at night shows, dressed up as heroes, and brought props such as plastic spoons or footballs, which they threw at the cinema. Not forgetting that each of them knows unsophisticated dialogues from the production, and such quotes as "You're tearing me apart, Lisa," or "I did not hit her, I did not," have become iconic. Even Entertainment Weekly has written about this movie in its 2008 extensive article. But this is still nothing, because in 2013, the actor who plays the director's friend in the film, Greg Sestero, who actually became a close colleague of Wiseau, published the book The Disaster Artist, telling about the young actor who, after moving to Los Angeles, meets a man at an acting class who, just like him, adores James Dean, and together they decided to make a movie called The Room. In addition to his publication, Greg also tried to discover the past and the origin of his friend. He wrote about him as a nice, funny colleague, and even went to Europe, such places as the Czech Republic and Poland, to learn the truth about him, but with no result. Sestero only reveals that Wiseau moved to France, where he worked washing the dishes, but after being unjustly detained and humiliated by the French police, he left for America and changed his name. Meanwhile, the book, co-authored by Tom Bissell, accidentally got to the hands of James Franco, and he immediately bought the rights to it and decided to make a film based on it. He liked the vision of a true male friendship despite their defeat in the movie. And so, in 2017, the film The Disaster Artist was made. James Franco directed the film and starred in it, and re-aroused the interest of both Tommy Wiseau and his project The Room. Funny enough, when at the beginning he asked a friend who should play him in his film, he replied that it's best Johnny Depp. You know, it must have been some popular big name. However, Sestero, who knows the filmography of Franco and especially his role as his beloved James Dean in the film James Dean Biography, persuaded the star to play Wiseau himself. Franco invited his relatives to cooperate. Greg Sestero was played by his brother Dave Franco, and the cast also included Seth Rogen, Alison Brie, Josh Hutcherson, and Zac Efron. His film not only depicted the way of making The Room, but above all, it was a production showing the strength of friendship, artistic expression, and the pursuit of dreams in spite of adversity. The movie, The Disaster Artist, appealed to viewers and critics and won an Oscar nomination for the Best Adapted Script, and James Franco even got the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical. James Franco treated Tommy Wiseau with great respect when he promoted his film. He always took him for interviews, just as with Jimmy Kimmel, and talked about him as a friend with affection. He also invited him to the Golden Globes, and it must be admitted that Tommy on the red carpet felt very good. The phenomenon of this creator still worked, although people still knew little about him. Even devoted fans were trying to learn something about him from the scraps of information. Up until now, because the greatest secret of Tommy Wiseau has just been revealed. So, let's tell you what it was. Because as we mentioned, almost 20 years after the premiere of The Room, this production is still popular among viewers around the world, and not just in North America, but also in far places like in Scandinavia, Great Britain, or in New Zealand. And among the fans, there are also stars such as Zach Braff, J.J. Abrams, Jonah Hill, Will Arnett, and Kristen Bell, who, as it is known, have a copy of this production for years and even organize events with accompanying film screenings for their friends. So it should not be a surprise that Tommy Wiseau also became the hero of a documentary film entitled Room Full of Spoons. Canadian director and screenwriter Richard Harper studied, for example, the origin of Tommy, and with the help of some students from some Polish university, he discovered that Wiseau is really called Tomasz Wieczorkiewicz and comes from Poznań, a city in Poland. Harper, as well as his colleagues Fernando Ferrero McGrath, Mark Rassicot, and Richard Towns, wanted the film to be distributed in 2017, just after the premiere of the popular Disaster Artist by James Franco. In the meantime, however, it turned out that Tommy Wiseau, trying to keep his secrets, filed a lawsuit against the creators and thus effectively blocked the distribution of the film because it could not be published until the end of the proceedings. Of course, Wiseau did not complain about the disclosure of his identity. He accused the creators of the document about copyright infringement because their production included fragments of The Room, a total 7 minutes. The case lasted for years, but recently the Variety published its results, and of course, it turned out that Wiseau lost in court and now will have to pay the Canadian filmmakers $550,000 as compensation for delaying the premiere and another $200,000 in damages. The court ruled that the creators had the right to quote The Room and added that although the director builds his image on the secret around his person, the creators of the document only confirmed it and disclosure of his identity is not offensive in any way, and that it was an attempt to block the premiere because Wiseau found the document unflattering. According to Variety, against Tommy Wiseau was the fact that the man behaved scandalously during the trial. Either he didn't come to the hearing or he didn't answer the questions. However, from what we know, Roomful of Spoons will soon be published on one of the streaming platforms. So, my curious sippers, are you going to view this document and get to know something more about Tommy Wiseau himself? Have you seen his movie The Room or The Disaster Artist? What do you think about this man and his work? Do you think it's right and fair that his true identity has been revealed? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and show it to your friends. We would also like to remind you to subscribe, and we recommend more of our interesting videos about the stars. So hopefully, see you soon!